coaches were saying about Mitchell Pehlke out of Ohio State.
How much of Mitch's film did you watch before you just turned it off?
Episode 14. We're back. The Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show on the Lacrosse Network. We're here live on a Wednesday morning, getting it going with the crew. We got Hoagie, Kev, Doogs. We got a packed episode. Getting to one of the final weeks talking about college lacrosse. We got a start bench cut and a new segment. We're not doing Mitch's mailbox this week, so stay tuned for the end to see what that is about college lacrosse. Kev, how are you feeling on this Wednesday?
Dude, playoffs are here. Regular season officially over. I know the Big Ten tournament's already underway. Saw those quarterfinal matchups this past weekend. I'm stoked. From here on out, every game matters.
Yes, 100%. Hoagie, how are you feeling?
No, I feel great. I mean, this is an amazing time of the year. I can't believe, I felt like it was yesterday. It was February. We were celebrating the start of the season. Now we're already at conference tournaments, NCAA tournaments right around the corner. Enjoy this week. This week for me is always like March Madness, where they got so many games going on starting at random parts of the day on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. We got like starting tomorrow with the Patriot League. I guess it'll have already happened when this is out. But, you know, the whole week you got games every day, games starting at 3 o'clock. So it's like madness. Awesome time of the year. So super stoked.
Dukes?
All right, Hoagie, you said Patriot League just started. You got to call your shot after I go. But let's get some winners and losers. Let's get some predictions out here. Mitch, feeling good, feeling fine. You know, April's gone. Doesn't matter now if you lost to Utah week 1 by about 20. Doesn't matter if you lost to Ohio State at home.
You
gotta play. You gotta play your best ball in May. You gotta play your best ball in May. Nobody knows that better than me. National champion.
Well, I think actually no one knows that better than James Hogan because he called it Rutgers over Michigan. We're going to start right there. Hoagie, how'd you pick it?
Tomorrow we'll do colors, Mitch. It's April.
Well,
that was in April.
I think in the past, the people have called Michigan the Kings of May, and this year they're not even playing in May. They'll be on the beach in Florida watching the Big Ten tournament on their television while it's on their field. But look, last week you guys called me crazy. I said Michigan had no chance at this thing. They had no shot at winning the Big Ten tournament. And honestly, they lost to Rutgers, and Rutgers outplayed them start to finish on their home field. To me, it was more the pro for Michigan was just that they had done it the last 2 years. They had been an underdog, and they had won. I think that was really the only argument, Kev and Doogs, that you guys could have had. It's just I trust them in May, and they've got it done. So until they don't, I'm going to ride with them. To me,
that's not where it came from at all.
Where was your
on that side of the bracket? Out of all those teams, who could give Maryland the most trouble? It's Michigan. Ohio State can't prove that. Rutgers can't.
So the reason I said I thought they had no chance is I just thought if you actually watch them all year, they struggled in so many games finishing, right? They struggled. They blew the Duke game at the end. They struggled fourth quarter against Penn State, struggled fourth quarter against Ohio State. Too many blown leads. They didn't really have anyone offensively besides Ryan Cohen. They didn't have a Mikey Boehm to really initiate offensively. They were missing a Justin Wheatfeld. They struggled a lot at the Faceoff X. So to me, you couple all that with a ton of injuries, which is not their fault, but they had the injury bug all season long. Eventually it was going to catch up to them. When you watched Michigan play all year, in my opinion, there was no chance that they were beating Rutgers, Ohio State, and then either Penn State or Maryland 3 games in a row. Just with the injuries, the shakiness offensively, the shakiness of the Faceoff X, I didn't see it happening. I thought no chance. That's why I was confident. I said I'd do the top comment. If they won it and they go home in the quarters, I don't have to worry about it. They'll be watching it on TV. But yeah, I mean, we'll see if Rutgers can pull the roles reversed here and pull a Michigan. Maybe they go on a run in a Big Ten tournament. I don't know. We'll see this week. But yeah, Michigan, I just felt like there was no chance, and they're not even making the semis. So
spoken like a man who's very glad to not have a Michigan tramp stamp.
Because that was the top comment.
I saw that comment.
Yeah, that was the top comment. That was.
Now, I feel like that was still a spite pick, Hoagie, because it's not like Rutgers was killing it this year. I know they had some big wins. But if that conversation didn't go the way it did on the podcast last week, would you have still picked Rutgers, or was it a spite pick?
The Rutgers pick was definitely, after I took Michigan, I said there's no way they're winning this thing. I was like, I'm taking Rutgers.
Answer the question.
While we were filming.
Answer the question. Hurry up.
While we were filming on air, I probably, if you asked me on air, I would have taken Michigan. But if you do run back the clip, on 2 occasions, I said I wouldn't be shocked if Rutgers won, and you guys were like, hell no.
If you run back that, okay, Hoagie, slow your roll right there for a second.
He's around the bush,
go get
run
the
it
clip
back.
Go to the clip. I said if they beat Rutgers, I'm 100% certain that they'll beat Ohio State. I said that there's no reason to say that they couldn't beat Ohio State. They were in the ball game 2 weeks ago against them. I said that if they play Maryland, I think I like their chances on that side of the bracket. Michigan over Maryland, 100%.
No, I'm talking about Rutgers.
I also
about Rutgers.
And I also went back and said they could easily lose to Rutgers.
No, they can beat Ohio State. I just don't see a way. I personally think they might lose to Rutgers this week. I'm not even kidding. If Tartan Stoller has a sick game, Rutgers has one of the better face-off guys in the country. And it was an 8-6 game 2 weeks ago when they played. I wouldn't be surprised if Rutgers.
I'm not saying that Rutgers can't beat Michigan. You get rid of you beat Rutgers. I think that Ohio State. If I'm Michigan, I'd rather play Ohio State over Maryland or Penn State. And then you beat Ohio State. You're in the championship game. Who should they be worried about? I said that they could easily lose to Rutgers.
They could lose to Rutgers. I said on 2 occasions that I wouldn't be shocked if Rutgers beats Michigan in the quarterfinal round. I said that on 2 different occasions, and then
since I said it once and you said it twice, it means more coming from you. I said that Rutgers could beat
you and
Michigan.
Mitch were like, no way. When I said that, Mitch, you were like, no, right away. When I said Rutgers could potentially win that game.
Yeah, truthfully, I was. I mean,
I was a little bit because I thought when they played each other. Yeah, when they played each other a few weeks ago, I thought Michigan played terrible and still won. And so, yeah, I was wrong on that one.
And look, but I do get.
But also for the record, Doogs and I were both like, our take was Maryland is going to win the Big Ten tournament or is the favorite to win the Big Ten tournament.
Do you guys still agree with that?
Oh, yeah. It's over. Absolutely. It's over now. The only team that could have given them a run is now out.
I think obviously Penn State.
You think a better game, a tighter game? You think a tighter game would have been Maryland, Michigan over Maryland versus Ohio State?
No way.
No, I know for a fact, buddy. Look at the schedule early on.
Sick individuals.
Maryland waxed the floor
against
against Ohio State. Maryland hasn't beat Michigan in years.
Yeah.
Biden was in office.
Yeah. Maryland probably was celebrating more than Rutgers was after that.
Biden was in office when? Last time Ohio State beat Maryland?
No, I'm pretty sure Obama was in office last time.
No, it was Trump, 2018.
That's clinical. clinical.
But
oh man, we're gonna be the last ones laughing.
You guys haven't beaten Maryland since 2018.
Maryland in College Park, 2018. Maryland was number 1. Ohio State unranked last time. Ohio State.
Hoagie and I lost to them.
We got screwed on a glove gate because Tillman pulled a glove incident.
Glove gate. You ever see the clip?
That was our senior year, glove gate.
That was awesome. That was rock and roll, buddy. Were you guys even on campus in 2018?
No.
We were juniors in high school.
You're starving. You guys are starving for that W. You see, Lax Reference gave you guys no shot in that tournament.
Yeah, that was crazy. Lax Reference had us at a 3.3% chance to win the Big Ten as the 1 seed, which I found absolutely absurd. Look, I'm an Ohio State guy. Obviously, everyone knows that. I'm not going to say that they should be the favorites. I'd probably have Penn State, Maryland ahead of them if I was being real and talking about I'd probably have Ohio State as the 3rd highest favorite.
Media member.
Have them at the 6th highest odds. Have Hopkins have a better chance to win the Big Ten than us. That is crazy. The computers are off the whack on that. I mean,
it's just it's sickening with the algorithms. Can we get back to the basics? Can we just go paper to pen and just say it how it is? Even though probably in 22, the reason we got in is because of the algorithm. But more of the story is let the good guys win. And I think let's end it there because we're going to have more to say next week, Hoagie, when the Buckeyes, get the another golden Buckeye. But Penn State over Hopkins. A lot closer game than we thought. Hopkins was right there. Penn State pulled ahead. They're obviously packing their bags. They're done. I still think, and I said it last episode, Penn State still has a legitimate shot to win the whole thing. After seeing that game, Kev, do you still agree or not really?
Yeah, and I was surprised at how close it was. Really, the third quarter was the difference. Is when Penn State was able to pull away a little bit, but only winning by 1. I think I said it last week. They got to win the big game in the big spot. This is going to be their first chance, really, since the Ohio State game, which they lost, and the Maryland game, which they lost. They're going to play in the Big Ten semifinals against Maryland. Everyone's going to be watching. This is their chance to show that they've got it in a big spot. No one saw the Princeton win inside of a dome on a last-minute stream because of weather. Hardly anyone saw the Cornell win and how it happened. So this is their moment. This is their moment to make a statement on a huge stage, and they're either going to, make us look bad, Mitch, because I know we've both been on Penn State, or they'll make us look great.
And Hoagie, I'm going to ask you this because I feel like you're the biggest lax rat here and you know the numbers. Penn State loses in the semis, are they making the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, Penn State's a lock for the tournament. There's no chance they miss it at all. They're RPI-wise high. Their resume's fine. To me, the big factor, I think, if you're talking NCAA tournament implications here, and a lot of the last couple of brackets had Ohio State at the 4 and 5 seed, if you look at the structure of the bracket. And I guess you could say maybe you rather have the 5 seed because you avoid playing the 1 in the quarter round. But also at the same time, there's no easy game in this tournament. So, the difference between the 4 and the 5 and a lot of mocks is the difference between playing a Towson or a CAA champ and playing like a Syracuse or a Harvard, or even potentially Notre Dame loses to Syracuse, Notre Dame going to Columbus in the first round. So you don't want to have to play one of those ACC schools, even Duke, one of those schools. So if Ohio State can beat Rutgers and Maryland wins, I think there's a chance Ohio State could bump and jump higher than Penn State. They beat them head to head. There's a chance there. So there's a lot at stake for Penn State. I think if all else is even, the Big Ten championship, Penn State makes it Ohio State. The winner will get the higher seed. But that difference in that 4 and 5 seed can be large and massive. It depends on the quarters, where you're going to go location wise. So, in a tournament where there's no free gimmies, I don't want to say it's free, but I'd rather play a CAA champ than an ACC school. So a lot of implications there on seeding.
And Towson's playing their best ball right now. But I also think, like, for going back to that Hopkins Penn State game, for me, it really comes down to, like, Jack Frassione really needs to be more consistent in my opinion. I think this is now like 6 games where he's sub 50% or 50% or less in save percentage. That's just not going to be acceptable if you want to make a deep run in May. Goaltending can carry teams to the Final Four. I mean, goaltending, like Alex Rhodes showed up every single May. Every single May. The offense always clicked for Virginia throughout the entire season. Road would be up and down, but when it came down to the biggest games of the year, Road always stepped up. And honestly, if you really want to talk about, like, he might be one of the best all-time clutch goalies I've ever seen.
For sure.
And also, when it's a team like Johns Hopkins and Mitch, we talk about it every single week. They started off hot. They fell through that, winless throughout conference play. These kids are still top recruits. I think when it comes to like these types of games, I don't take much away from Penn State, because Penn State they were going to get in regardless. They're getting into the tournament. Johns Hopkins is fighting for their lives. They're fighting for their last college lacrosse game. They're fighting for their last time to put on that uniform, those helmets. So I'd rather be the hunters than the hunted. And in this fact, the hunted came out on top. So that was an impressive win, in my opinion, for Penn State to, escape.
Hopkins this year, Kev, what went wrong for them?
There was the 2 big injuries, Melendez and then losing the goalie, the transfer from Loyola. I just feel like they never really recovered from that. Even if they did have guys that they plugged in, we've mentioned Charlie Eiler a bunch of times on this podcast. I don't think he ever replicated Melendez's production. Even guys like Hunter Chauvette, who were in the lineup all year, when they have a nasty low to high, when Melendez is in the game and they're winning, that's cool. He'll have 2-3 nasty low to high shots and you don't even see him because it's in a loss. So I don't know. They just didn't have that game breaker. I thought Matt Collison could be that. If you look at his stats, he's a dude who puts up 2 goals and an assist every game. Why didn't he take over more games, especially when Melendez was down? That's a guy I would have called on coming into the season. I thought he was the best midfielder in college. I don't know if I still believe that. I think physically he's up there and he's got the potential, and he's got another year in college after this. But I don't know. I was really disappointed that no one really stepped up and stepped forward. I know Charlie Eiler stepped in, but who stepped forward and stepped up as that number 1 guy once Melendez went down?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the rules. I don't know what Russ is doing right now, but I think he still has the potential to take that 7th year.
He does. And you know what he should do with it is either get a doctorate from Hopkins and make that education worth it, or, buddy, go into IB with Sam King. TJ Malone's looking for an intern this summer, buddy. I mean, like, what are we doing? 7 years in college? It's like the Miami tight end. It's the Miami tight end.
Oh, yeah, the Miami tight end.
He went into college with me. This guy just graduated in January.
Yeah, it is kind of nuts. It is kind of crazy.
At some point, you're like Van Wilder. It's like, how do you do, fellow kids? Like, and you're Russell Melendez.
It is crazy, though, that Hopkins and Virginia both finished at 6 and 8 this year with losing records. I mean, maybe I think that's something no one could have predicted.
Glaze City
last time since
for them earlier this year with all of us.
Yeah. Hopkins? Yeah,
bigger disappointment than Virginia for sure. By the way,
the most shocking part about Hopkins for me is obviously we were very high on them at the beginning of the year, and Look, I mean, maybe after a couple weeks, we didn't think they were legit contenders to win, but I didn't expect them to go 0-6 and not win a singular game in the Big Ten. I feel like Milliman's built a lot of momentum the last 2 years with the Big Ten regular season championships, the quarterfinals appearances. I feel like they do have a good culture and a good identity, and I feel like to a degree that can carry you to a couple wins, whether you have the talent or not. So I really am shocked that they couldn't just get one in Big Ten play, which is wild to me. But it makes you question Hopkins moving forward. I mean, they were kind of down for years, and then took a Milliman a little bit, but he kind of brought him back in 2 straight quarters, and now they're back to 6-8. So it's like next year is a big year for Hopkins, because do they go back up, or if they go 6-8 again, there's going to be a lot of chatter about Peter Milliman. I'm telling you, those Hopkins fans are not going to be patient.
Hoagie, we talk about Bresci, we talk about Myers, we talk about all these coaches, and we talk about this hypothetical hot seat that we've kind of come around that doesn't really exist in college lacrosse. It exists in 2 places, and 2 places that I think could really start to be heating up. I think Syracuse and Hopkins seats are
those are the only 2 in the country.
Mighty warm.
I'm with you, Doogs. I got your back here, Doogs.
When you consider the fan bases, when you consider the history, when you consider the media that covers the sport and what's actually being done at those places, not much. Milliman, I think I ran through it last week. I think this might be the 3rd season below 500, or the 3rd season. Has he been here for 5 years?
Yeah, he was there. Our freshman year in college was his first year. Yeah, so it's might have been his 6th year, Mitch, because Petra wasn't there when we were there.
Yeah, 4, 9, and 20.
No, our freshman year, Petra was his last year.
I guess we didn't play.
4, 9,
so yeah.
7, and 9.
You're right.
And then 23, 24, he made the quarters, and then this
I
year,
think it goes back to what I said earlier of like, there's not a big enough aspect for these guys to get booted.
They fired Petra.
It's different at Hopkins and it's different at Syracuse, Mitch. I think those are the 2 schools where it actually is different and means something. Not that the other schools it doesn't mean something, but other schools at big Power 5 schools, Michigan's, Ohio State's, they have more stuff to worry about than men's lacrosse, right?
What has Pete Milliman done for Hopkins?
At a school like Hopkins, where Hopkins really is, lacrosse is that school athletically, it's that school in the area. I mean, obviously the academics are top tier, but when you think of Johns Hopkins, it's lacrosse, and the administration breathes lacrosse.
I think the only thing that worries me is I've felt and heard a rumor, don't know if it was true or not, but when they booted Petro, it was along the same lines of, we want to keep Hopkins what it's known for from the educational standpoint. The tradition of what we did in lacrosse was great. They might have had some change in the administration role. I don't know if lacrosse at that school is still what it's known for back in the day.
100% is. I think 100% is.
I don't know, man. 3 seasons below 500. You got 2 quarters, no Final Four appearances. I'm not saying the guy's going to be fired this year, but boy. 13 and 17 conference records is taking over at Hopkins.
Mitch,
that's not good.
Hopkins is known for lacrosse. I mean, if they don't have a lacrosse team, do you even know really what they are? I mean, I guess you do because you're from that area.
Well,
you're from that area, Maryland.
Mitch sounded like he kind of knew what he was talking about there. I'm not gonna lie. Like I could see to us sports fans, what is Hopkins known for? But to most people, what is Hopkins known for? It's known as like a medical school.
No, 100%. I'm not denying that, but you don't think that if they go same record, 7 and 8 or whatever it is next year, he's not getting fired? I don't know about that. I think that he's getting the can. 4 seasons below, like we're talking about a legend in Petramala getting fired.
And I don't think you can pull it's hard to recruit to Hopkins, or, Hopkins might have been passed now by recruits who, they don't care as much about the history and legendariness of Hopkins and the academicness of it.
Jerseys.
I agree. Like, of the Big Ten schools, if you're throwing the academics out, they don't fit in. They don't have the big campuses. They don't have the big football, et cetera, et cetera. But the Ivy League schools have been able to be wildly successful. Princeton's, Cornell's, Yale's of the world. So there's really no excuse there on that end of like why they still can't be relevant. I just think they haven't been able to find a way to really connect with these high school recruits and stars. I mean, look, Mitch, we talked about it when we were in high school. The number 1 recruits in our grades were, going to Maryland's and so on and so forth. And I feel like as the years have gone on, the kids want Ivy League. The kids want academics. So it's not like they're not looking for what Hopkins has to offer, right? Like Hopkins offers the academics. They offer the history. They offer the tradition. They offer the big time lacrosse. Where are they missing on the recruiting trail?
Selling point, right? Because it's like, some cats could be closer to home. The education's there. Oh, if you want the football, you got the Ravens right down the road. I mean, it's kind of give and take, obviously, for each school. But I don't really know. I mean, at the end of the day, like at the end of the day, there's more schools that are getting better at the sport. And
No,
like, it goes to Duke's point of like these cats that paid in the 90s, like kudos to them, but like not Notre Dame and Ohio State's and Maryland's were
Right.
great.
Like Collins wants to talk about Army making the Final Fours when there was the 8 teams in the tournament.
Yeah.
You win one game, you're in the semifinals. Like, and that's
Yeah.
no disrespect. Congrats for doing that, but like, whatever. I also just think like when we're talking about the other school really quick, Syracuse. If they lose to Notre Dame, are they in the tournament?
Syracuse
They're
is
suddenly in danger.
Yeah, they're in
You're
danger.
9-6 going into Selection Sunday if you lose to Notre Dame.
But to tie it to the Milliman thing, I think Gate is significantly safer than
100%,
MLS.
Kev. That's what I was about to say. Like
Okay.
that's how I'm tying it back. Is like Gary Gates, a legend at Cuse. You have 22
Yeah.
named after him. Gate Lacrosse
Right.
is on every sideline. He's also done a lot for the
Yeah.
women's program. It's disappointing. He'll probably be safe, but you would be. Mitch, we would not be lacrosse media, as you'd like to say, if we didn't say that seat just got a notch warmer.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah,
And especially given the talent that's there right now.
that's fair. It's like, at what point do you take the next step? And we've been waiting for it, and we thought this was the year, and they're still kind of where they were. And I look back at what Joey said on the Through X video about how his class kind of came in, and he was like, we wanted to change things and kind of bring them back to a degree. And so far, they really haven't done enough to change that at all. I mean, they've been more relevant. They don't have a losing record, but they've still not been truly elite to be able to compete. So obviously they have next year too, and this year's not finished yet. But the way they've looked, it's been an underperforming and underwhelming year for Syracuse, if we're being honest.
4-10, 8-7, 12-6. Then they could be 9-6 when it's all said and done by the next recording. Like, that's crazy to think about, but it is what it is. This is the great
100%.
And lacrosse reference, by the way, if we're talking percentages, has them at 63% chance to make the tournament if they lose to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean,
Big
you're looking at 2 spots for 3 to 4 teams on the at-large roll. It's going to be Syracuse. It's going to be Harvard. It's going to be Army if they don't win the Patriot League, and then I guess you could throw Richmond technically. That's a long shot, but you got to have them at least in the conversation because they have better metrics, strength of schedule, and RPI wise than Army does. But yeah, those are probably the 4 spots. If Army doesn't win the Patriot League, I said this morning, they're in massive trouble. And look, I get what Army people are saying out there, and I understand it stinks. Do I think Army deserves a shot at competing for the national championship? 100%. Do I think they're a top 10 team in the country? 100%. But at the end of the day, look, when you play in the Patriot League in a second-tier conference and your RPI is not as high and your strength of schedule is not as high, you can't play teams like Mercer outside of the Patriot League when you have freebie games like Bucknell, like Holy Cross, like Lafayette. I know Lafayette's having a better year, but Lafayette, Lehigh, Holy Cross, Bucknell, those games are not going to carry in the tournament. Playing UMass at a conference, and I don't blame Army, but to a degree, it's like it stinks. But like, if Army doesn't win the Patriot League, I really don't think that they should. I feel like they act like they should just be in the tournament because they beat Carolina one time. It's like one win can't carry a whole season.
It really makes you realize how much like stacking the quality wins matters. Like when you look at like Maryland and how like impervious they are to the bad loss, like they can lose multiple games, Michigan and Rutgers. It doesn't really hurt the resume at all because they have so many good wins along the way.
Yeah.
And like, the opposite is Army, who wins every game. They're not letting down anywhere, and they have a good win against UNC, but that's their whole resume, really. Like none of their wins are resume building wins other than UNC.
And when your strength of schedule is at 27th, they're 12th outside the RPI. I mean, when you're comparing them to Richmond's at 9 on the RPI, Army's at 12. Strength of schedule for Richmond's 20, Army's 27th. Wins, Army's got the North Carolina Rutgers win, but you could look at Richmond. They have Virginia and Georgetown as well. There's a semi-comparable argument to even have Richmond in over Army, and I know that's going to make Army people go insane. And I'm not saying put Army in over Richmond, or I don't even think Army. I think Army beats Richmond on the field, but my point is, I just feel like when you play in the Patriot League, and I'm sorry to say it, it's not a top tier conference. You cannot play teams like Mercer. It's unacceptable at a conference. You need that. That doesn't help your RPI. The win gets you nothing. UMass is not going to get you in the tournament. I get it. They play
Hoagie, if you're Coach A, those 5 or 6 games you have before Patriot League play, are you only playing Big Ten, Ivy, and ACC teams?
Yeah, and look, and I don't blame Coach A to a degree because it's tough to get games. You've had Syracuse for years who's refused to go play down at Michie Stadium, which is so soft. Syracuse will only play them if they play in the Dome, and Army's gone up there and beat them. So I get what Coach A's thing is. Like, a lot of teams will say, we're not going to come to you, but if you want to come to us, you'll play, which I get it. For Army, it stinks. But look, you either got to play the uneven field and go on the road and play them, or you're going to have to say, I have to win my conference or I'm going home. It sucks, but it is what it is. So if I'm Coach A, I'm taking any invite I have. I'm playing Syracuse every year. I'm playing UNC every year. I'm playing any of those teams, even if I can get a Notre Dame, anyone I can get. I'm scheduling tough. Even if I go 0-5 out of conference, it doesn't matter. You need to have the strong schedule, because let's say Army had the UNC win, and let's say they pulled off a Big Ten win. Say they had like a Michigan or Ohio State, a Penn State potential win. Then then we can kind of talk to them. But like, when you don't play the everyday grind in conference, like the Big Ten or ACC, they don't have an easy game in conference. So like, you see schools like Maryland, their whole out of conference and stuff, and then they don't have a layup in conference. So for Army to have a layup like Mercer out of conference and then get 5 layups in conference with Loyola, Holy Cross, Bucknell, Lehigh, and Lafayette, and like, all right, you play Boston and Colgate, they're solid teams, they're not elite teams. It's like, if you don't win your conference, I'm sorry, at the end of the day, like, there's not a seat at the table for you, whether you think you're good enough or not. And I think Army's good enough, you're not going to get in. So I get it. It's not fair. I get it. It's not tough. And I'm not anti-Army. I'm an Army guy. I think they should be in the tournament.
You cannot say I'm not an anti-Army guy. I'm an Army guy. That sounds like an anti-Army guy.
I think Army should be in the NCAA tournament. My point is more like, they should. Like, I don't see how they have an argument if they don't win the Patriot League tournament. It's their own fault. Thank you, Kev. That's my point.
Yeah. I do think that, like, when it comes down to these like schools, like, and again, I'm going to call them a mid-major because they play in the Patriot League. It's a mid-major as of right now. Until they expand the tournament and until multiple teams get in consistently in the Patriot League, they're a mid-major. Like, why does a team like Syracuse need to play Army? They don't need to. It could actually hurt them if it's a down year at West Point and you lose. It's going to hurt your RPI. There's no win-win solution for a team like Syracuse to play Army. Like, does it stink as a
I think that's the hard part for the mid-majors.
It's an impossible situation for the mid-majors, and that is exactly why they are mid-major.
If I'm Coach A and you're Gate right now and I want to play you, like, what is like? I'm trying to think of like what's
this has been going on for years. Syracuse won't play Army unless they play in the Carrier Dome. They did the same thing with Albany.
Think, like,
they won't play. They won't play.
Why would a Big 3 conference, Big 10, ACC, Ivy, want to play a mid-major? Like, if you're the big dog, why would you want to play mid-major? Like, walk me through what the thought process is.
Because you're like, we're not, you could say, like, if you're a team like Syracuse, I guess, in this sense, like, if you're Gate and you're trying to bring back Syracuse and you're trying to bring back juice to the Dome, you're like, this might be able to give some juice back. Or Army, Syracuse, Army coming up to the Dome, let's play each other. But to go down there, it's like, what good does that do? Like, come up to the Dome and, like, let's get our building rocking. Let's get people out in the streets of Syracuse. Let's go into the Dome. Let's go party. Like, I don't know.
If I'm Coach A, though, I think I'm going to try and get some connections with either Big Ten or Ivy League schools. Because if I'm a Big Ten team, I get maybe you don't need to play them, but the Army plays a Big Ten style, an Ivy style of like a gritty, hard-nosed defense, slow pace, like that kind of style. I think matches up better than like an ACC school. Like, I agree with Doogs. Like, why do I need to play Army? What is that going to get you other than if we lose, it's going to hurt me?
Dude, they have their RPI right now is 12th. Like, coming like from basically playing a Patriot League schedule. Like, sure, that's better if you play these other teams, but that loss is probably hurting UNC to a degree right now.
Yeah.
Like, not saying UNC's in danger, but just getting that loss. If you lose to Syracuse then in the Dome, it's like, where's UNC on the bubble? Like, I
guess it's just a tough situation because I feel bad for the Army people online, and I agree. You're number 4 in the country. You've constantly had a great record. You've gotten good wins last year, beat UNC and Cuse in 1 year. This year you beat UNC. You say it's ridiculous that we don't have a chance, and I agree. They should get in the tournament. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm sorry, when you're in a mid-major, it's like you got to win your conference. Like in March Madness, like the SoCon or the, whatever, Horizon League is not getting 2 bids. I'm sorry. There's not 2 seats at the table for you guys. So I get it. It stinks. And one game, it sucks to be your season. But, if you lose to Colgate in the Patriot League Championship, like, I'm sorry, there's not a seat at the table for you, most likely. I'm telling you right now, if it's down to Army, Harvard, and Syracuse, there's no way of those 3 they leave Syracuse out of the dance of those 3. Syracuse, they're going to put in whether they should be or not. And then you're going to have to put Harvard in because they beat Syracuse to justify it. Both those schools have higher strength of schedules and RPIs than Army too, so they'll be able to justify it there. I'm telling you, if it's down to those 3, it's going to be Syracuse and Harvard last in, Army out.
Also, if they're gonna have an absolute like the chaos situation, in my opinion, is going to be the 𝐓𝐇𝐄 shit that Army fans.
It'll
have.
create
If
a
they
new
lose-
way, maybe,
if
of
they
how we
have
pick the
Yeah.
field.
If they
It's
have
going to change how we
losses-
pick the field.
If they have losses, if they have 2 losses, right, and
Yeah.
however they shake out, and you see Richmond lose in the conference championship of the A10, Richmond's going to have a good argument to get in.
That's what I mean.
Mhm.
Richmond has
Richmond's-
the RPI at
and they're
9.
going to have
and it's-
multiple losses. They're going to be a mid-major, but their losses they're going to have no bad losses because even
Nope.
I'm looking at it right now.
They
on
play like a
Lacrosse
St.
Reference.
Joe's in a
If they
championship
say
and
they
lose. Yeah.
if they beat UMass and then lose to St. Joe's, they have an 80% chance to make the NCAA tournament. If they beat UMass and get eliminated by a High Point, it's a 56% chance.
Their RPI is good, and let's not forget about Richmond too. They are legitimately a couple, proper defensive
Right.
stops and good plays. Balls bounce their way away from being 4-0 against Cornell, Duke, Virginia, Georgetown, which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Low key, they should have had that Cornell game, and the Duke game was
Yeah.
right up there for the grabbing. So
Double overtime. They were winning against Cornell in the fourth quarter.
yeah, and they have a top 10 RPI right now. So Richmond is
Yeah,
very
that-
well in that spot. I think people aren't talking about that,
Oh,
and
Cons is gonna
obviously
be
they're
so
lurking.
mad.
Cons is going to be
They're
mad,
lurking.
but at the end of the day, the truth and the facts don't lie, unfortunately. So
The truth and the facts do not lie. College
card,
lacrosse
please.
is just going to get a little bit more exciting, obviously, next week. 20 champs go down. We'll talk about that. But, Kev, I want to pass it to you. We got a little Gamify segment talking ACC tournament. Kev, I want you to explain the rules for the guys. Let's dive in.
All right. So we all know that the ACC is maybe the best college lacrosse conference. You can at least make an argument. Maybe not this year. But one of the most frustrating things about the conference is that they're one team shy of getting that automatic qualifier. So you need to have 6 teams for your conference championship to earn you an automatic bid in the NCAA tournament. So I'm going to ask you guys around the room, one ACC team, school that you wish could add men's lacrosse to give ACC 6 teams in the automatic qualifier that comes with it. What's the team you're picking, Dukes?
It's Boston College. I mean, they're
Yeah.
gonna Boston College, and I'd give it about 3 years could make the ACC championship game. It would have premier Northeast talent. You're talking about kids from Mitch nowadays that want to go get a good education. You're going to get that at Boston College. You want to get
But see, I just think
six
it's like
uniform
too
with the
clo-
red bandana. You're
I
going to
think
get that
it's
at
too
Boston
close
College.
to BU in the aspect of like I
you're
would
going to
just go to-
choose BC 10 out of 10 over BU.
I mean,
Oh,
It's
hell
not
yeah.
even a
depends-
question.
Yeah,
Why
but
would
I
you play Patriot League
in my
ball
head,
when you
I'm
could play-
picking a place where there's not even lacrosse.
And then you're going to get that Boston College BU rivalry that they have in hockey. It would be awesome. Boston College needs to get
Hoagie, who
lacrosse
you picking?
immediately.
So you're saying a team that doesn't have lacrosse already,
An
like to add a
ACC
team?
Yeah.
ACC school.
Okay.
Like, whether it's
um,
Clemson, you saw Clemson just make the
Yeah,
semifinals.
Clemson potentially. I think Miami could be really cool.
Yeah.
Down there to have like a Miami Hurricanes team. Obviously, good academics, warm weather. Florida lacrosse is getting better. I was gonna say if you were gonna think like a team that already exists to move into the ACC, I was gonna say like a Georgetown potentially could be cool. I mean, they have the basketball to move in. They don't have the football, but like a Georgetown in the ACC, they've shown that they can be elite in lacrosse. I think that could be cool as like a team. We're not thinking
Who's already
crazy
there.
team, just already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgetown in
Yeah.
the ACC.
Georgetown could be sick. That's a good idea. I think for me, I'm thinking Clemson would be kind of the easiest lift of
Yeah.
just they already have the women's facilities, add a guy's locker room, and it's done. I think that would be sick. And I don't know. We saw that graphic that you guys put up about Clemson, Clemson club lacrosse playing USC.
Yes.
Just a classic rivalry that USC crushed them. But I think that would be sick. Dukes, if you could do it all over again, and USC, South Carolina, and Clemson both had Division I lacrosse, where would you commit?
South Carolina, baby.
Why is that?
Isn't it obvious? The girls.
SEC football.
No, I really do want to go back to the Boston College thing. Like, I think Boston College could clean up recruits when it comes to the Long Island, the Fairfield County area, and then I think Massachusetts in general. You're just going to get a bunch of athletes out there. I mean, you see the women's program.
Yeah, they're
It's
killing it.
The same amount
Same
of
thing as Clemson.
same recruiting areas. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that it really does have a strong ties to like the Irish Catholic backgrounds that you find in the Northeast.
Yeah,
I'm surprised
100%.
UConn doesn't have men's lacrosse too, though. At any
Yeah.
point in the
They
history,
got
I feel like
they got- I
that
think
could have
they-
been an
did they
easy
used to?
one, not to add, but I'm saying like I'm surprised they don't have it. Like a
I think
UConn,
next
East
week,
Coast.
Can I do a can I request a start bench cut live on air that we
Of course.
do next week?
Shoot
you
it. Let's
got?
go.
Because I don't know them off the top of my schools, but I think we should start bench cut or at least rank or of some sort teams that used to be D1. So
Like a
you can
Michigan,
say,
like Michigan
like a
State used to have
Michigan
D1.
State,
Yeah,
NC
yeah.
State, Boston
That NC
College.
State was going to be my pick. Yeah, I was going to say that. I can't believe it didn't get mentioned. They were actually really good in D1.
Yeah, they were.
And Stan Cockerton, I think, still owns the record for most points per game for an entire career or something like that. So I always think that's interesting. And then one school that we just talked a lot about them, but Richmond. I feel like if there was a team that we could maybe make the leap into the ACC, I don't know if they have the full profile, but just from a lacrosse standpoint, I love
That's
it.
why I
If
was
we're going to
thinking
talk about
Georgetown.
jumping, if we're going to talk about jumping conferences, I think one team that could definitely be a glue in the ACC and really be a force right away is a school called Maryland. They'd be awesome in the ACC. I would love to see Maryland at some
No
point.
chance.
Run away from playing the Ohio States of the world.
Dukes, let's say
The money
Tills
talks
hits you
too
with
much in the
a,
Big Ten. The
yeah,
money
a phone
talks
call.
too much.
Yeah.
What do you like? Let's say Tills hits you with a phone call, Dukes. And he's like, "I want you on staff. What can you bring to the table?"
Yeah, I'd be like
What are you responding?
an updated iPad.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You
That's
think,
it.
you think he's been able to sleep well? These last couple nights, knowing that he doesn't have to worry about Connery hacking in it. The Big Ten tournament, they're done and out.
No, I actually think that he's pumped. Right away, I was like, "Congrats to Maryland."
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's probably the one
100%.
team Tills
Also,
wanted out of
let's-
there early.
Kev, fun fact real quick when you're bringing up NC State, John Tesh, composer of the round ball rock. You know that's
Yes.
na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Played lacrosse at NC State.
Really?
Wow. That's great.
Wow.
Dude,
From
why
Garden
would you
City.
It's
That's
a
why.
Green City
You couldn't
guy.
wait until
a
Mitch
Long
throws you
Island
the
hack.
fun fact.
God, I love that. You should have waited for the end. You got to know
know,
that. Well, before we
one.
hop off college, let's talk about the rest of the country. Obviously, the biggest story of the weekend, Cornell beating Dartmouth, and obviously CJ Kirst setting the record. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, clap it up for him. It's
CJ.
absolutely insane. I think the post, I don't know if you guys put it out at Inside Lacrosse about him talking to Paul Carcaterra. Man, that gave me chills.
Me too.
And it's just so special. But he finished with
Through X.
226.
So you're talking about the video from Through X?
Yeah.
That's what
You
he's
guys
talking
put a
about.
little
That
short
shit
on
is
Instagram.
Obviously us.
That's
Yeah.
TLN.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on, Mitch.
But he's sitting at 226 right now. Do you think if he goes all the way to the national championship, let's all guess what goals he'll finish out with?
I was trying to think about this earlier, and I feel like I'm going to go. We should remember these numbers, and it's like as high as you can, but you can't go over. So, like Price is Right style.
So what's
Okay.
he at right now?
Okay.
226.
Yeah.
226.
I'm going to say he finishes with 245 if he goes all the way to the championship game.
I'm going to go 242.
So he has 2 Ivy games left, potentially.
Yeah, and
And then-
4 potential.
I think he'll have 4 potential.
No, you already said it.
games.
No, you're locked in.
No, I'm saying to help you out, a potential first round game against like a Utah, he's getting like 8 goals. So
Yeah, but I feel like that's his only 8-goal game left. He's
yeah,
got
but I
in
still
him,
think
probably.
he's good for 2 on an off day. So
I'm saying 250.
You
You're
think
going
he's going
high.
to hit 250?
that's a
Yes.
lot. Wow, I'm at 245. Kev, you're at 242.
I think he's a different player.
242. Yeah.
Mitch 250. Dukes, where you at?
Oh God, he's gonna say something low. I know
You
it.
think like
See,
260 or like
folks,
230?
this is why we have him
Dukes
on.
gonna say they lose in like the
240.
quarterfinal, and he's
230?
240.
Oh, 240.
240.
Oh, I think you said 232. I was about to be like, get the
So he's
mannequin back.
26 right now.
226 right now.
I think
Yeah.
he's got 4 games left. I think he'll average 4 goals a game.
so that means
So wait,
that
you think he's losing in
you
the
think you lose the
quarterfinals?
quarters? Wow,
You're a sick individual.
I knew Dukes was gonna do something like
Corey,
that.
please keep this clip because we will be.
Can I tell you why? I saw that they
Flaming
got,
this.
I saw bracketology today where they get lined up with Notre Dame in the quarters. So now it's just
Oh,
in my mind.
that would
Dude.
suck.
Such a
This guy's the biggest Notre Dame homer I've ever seen.
gosh.
Dude, I would hate
Wrong
that.
yet.
I hope that doesn't happen.
That's I said it last week. If anyone's paying attention, bad matchup for Cornell. Bad matchup.
Gosh. Well, I think that wraps it up for college. And Kev, any final words about this past week in college lacrosse?
Dude, I'm glad that we kind of finally put the nail in the coffin of a few teams. Hopkins, Virginia.
Yep.
We've kind of been talking about them all year. It's not been
Yeah.
fun to talk about them. I'm
Yes.
glad we're done talking about them until the next round of 5-star recruits commit.
Which
I
will
also-
be very soon.
I also think Duke, watching Duke, they have absolutely zero chance to be playing at Foxborough. I'd be genuinely shocked, honestly, if they win a first-round game.
It depends on their line. It depends on who they play. Like if they
I
run
see-
into
I
like
don't
someone
think
like the
they'll be
Ohio
a-
State
I don't think
Buckeyes,
they'll
I
be a
think they got a
Foxborough.
good shot. But I mean, besides
Yeah,
that,
they could
like,
be.
Hey,
No,
that's a
I mean,
great
it's just-
segue
no,
to
Duke.
getting.
How about
Keep
Notre
going,
Dame?
Hoagie. Keep going,
No,
Hoagie.
no, if Duke plays Ohio State in the first round, obviously Duke could win that game.
That is a Rutgers. That is Hoagie. Agree.
That is a tough matchup for Ohio State. I will agree
Handshake?
with you, Jay. I will shake the hand on that. I'll agree on that. I just don't think even if they get the first round game, I don't see them being in Foxborough.
It does feel like a Michigan Rutgers game. The Ohio State versus Duke. I
Yeah.
will say that.
Can you make that handshake movement again? God.
How about Notre Dame?
Second half Notre Dame, Duke. Second half Notre Dame. Best team in the
Best team.
country.
Best team in the country. We finally found out who the best team in the country is.
Do you think so?
Second half.
Second half Notre Dame. Yeah.
Second half.
Number 2 in the
Four
country.
quarters.
Syracuse in the Dome.
Yeah, yeah. At the
Is
dome.
it number 2 though?
In outer
Harvard
space.
loss, UNC loss.
Oh, you're right. They do have 2 losses. I thought they only
2
had 1.
losses
You're
at
right.
home.
Yeah. All right. They're number 6.
Yes, sir. Yes,
They're number
sir.
24 on grass.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's hop in a little PLL talk. Obviously, with the draft coming up next week, we have a PLL insider, 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Jr., Adam Lamberti. Welcome to the show. And now, entering the booth of the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show, we have interview with Adam Lamberti. Clapping it up for Big Adam. How we doing? Are you a fellow Italian?
Fellow Italian, yes, sir.
Wow. Is that 3 for 3? We're not even planning it at this point. We got Petramala, 𝐓𝐇𝐄, Dr. Lamberti, and Pehlke. We're here live at Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show. Adam, how you doing today?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Yeah, anti-Irish discrimination on this podcast.
Yeah.
So I got to get
Seriously.
some Irish blood here. Let's get a Kavanagh on.
Before we hop into kind of the mock draft, what we're expecting the PLL draft, who is your comparison in your role right now? Would you compare yourself most to a 𝐓𝐇𝐄? Who would your comparison be in the NFL?
Yeah, good question. I mean, probably 𝐓𝐇𝐄 make the most sense. If I'm not mistaken, I think he went to Calvert Hall.
Yes.
Baltimore.
He
I
did
think
go to
he's a
Calvert Hall.
long guy. So me being from Bel Air, that's probably the best comparison. But no, just just trying to do my best, seeing where guys go, rank guys. Just happy to have the opportunity to be able to push the PLL draft forward.
So
100%.
we should expect a terrible showing during the draft next Tuesday. Yeah, just an
Absolute meltdown
Yeah,
when
and a lot of
CJ
crash
Kirst is
outs.
still available in the 4th round.
Yeah.
Who's going to be your Shador Sanders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, I think that goes right into your mock draft. How confident are you with your draft? Your top 8 right now looks strong. I'm looking at it right now. If you were to put your mortgage on this top 8, would you do it? Are you that confident?
Not really. And to be honest with you, stuff is changing by the week.
Yes.
I would say top 5. I think we kind of know the players that are likely going to go in the top 5, and I can rattle them off. Kirst is going 1. I think Andrew McAdory to the Redwoods with one of those picks seems very likely. Chris Kavanagh is going to go in the top 5. I think it's just a matter of where. And then, you got guys like Coulter Mackessy's been linked to the Cannons at 4 a lot. And then maybe don't have a 5th right now, but we kind of have an idea of how the top 8 are going to go. But it's who goes where is the biggest question.
100%. 100%. With your top 5 right now, obviously Kirst going 1 to the Water Dogs. What role do you see him playing with the Dogs? Do you see him playing that traditional X quarterback, or do you see Tierney kind of floating him on the wings or potentially out of the box?
Yeah, I think the great thing about Kirst, I know Kevin said a lot about it. It's you can put Kirst anywhere in an offense and he's going to produce, right? It's that's why he's such a surefire pick. Yeah, he just broke the NCAA goals record, but he's you see the way he scores and creates. He can score just as a lefty shooter. He's great off ball, and obviously we know what he can do as a Dodger from the lefty wing. If I had to guess, I think he probably would come out of the box to start just because you got guys like Sowers and McCardle, 2 veterans that have been doing it forever there. But I think we all agree that Kirst is probably talented enough to take the keys, maybe as early as week 1, but I think definitely going later into the PLL season, I wouldn't be surprised to see Kirst kind of given the keys to that offense a little more than week 1.
Whoa,
Yeah.
like over Sowers, you're saying?
Just like I think they can work in tandem though. I mean, look how it is with Cornell right now with Ryan Goldstein, their ex guy. Kirst is, the lead guy there, but Ryan Goldstein has put up a ton of points from that X spot. Like I think, we expect Kirst to probably move around a little bit on an offense. I think there can be multiple guys, and when I say keys, I don't mean like he's the go-to guy all the time, but I think more in an expanded role, out of a timeout, you need a goal. Like I think Kirst could become like that guy. Maybe they draw up more plays for.
I feel like Sowers is. Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just for 1 second, I thought you were comparing Ryan Goldstein to Michael Sowers, and I almost had a Mel Kiper moment, but I didn't. That was very brave of me. I did not have that moment.
I feel like Sowers is the safest because they like to operate on like opposite ways. I think when you're looking at something that's got to give, it's either going to be Kieran McArdle, who operates in his favorite spot, or if he's the crease guy, it's Ethan Walker, who's a Tierney guy and kind of had a not so great year last year.
100%.
Yeah,
that is interesting.
Yeah, and who also, by the way, I think I was on the record 2 years ago saying I thought Ethan Walker was the most underrated player in the PLL, and it really was looking like that. He was just such a crucial part to that offense. Last year, it fell asleep. The Kirst integration into that offense is going to be fascinating to see, and I'm excited. I mean, as a gambler myself, I've already taken the Water Dogs with the presumption that they were taking Kirst. I think that's
to win the whole thing.
100%, yeah.
How much you put down?
100. And I'll probably put down another 100 once I get more excited.
To win what?
It's plus 600. So you
Jesus.
700.
Kevin
no
McDougal,
no
folks.
cannons this year for Doogs. No cannons. We had
He's
Gillette.
hopping and he'll do a lot of teams.
Yeah.
It's pretty normal. It's kind of what he does. But Adam, let's talk here. Your top 8 right now. Obviously, we just saw the NFL draft. Shedeur Sanders. Interesting. 3rd round.
Fifth round.
Who is that? Or sorry, 5th. Who do you think that is for this top round?
Yeah, is there anyone?
I think there could be. I actually wrote a little bit about it. So I'll start off. Two of the guys that I think need like a very good fit. Like the big thing with Shedeur, it's like if he falls past like the Steelers, like then there could be a big fall, like we saw. That guy right now that stands to top of mind is Owen Hiltz of Syracuse, right? Like I think the Cannons are, one of the only teams that need a lefty attackman. They've made that known, and they're likely deciding between Mackesy and Hiltz at number 4 overall. So it's like if they don't take Hiltz at 4, like who needs a lefty? And I think we all agree, like Hiltz like kind of needs to be starting on the left side to have the most impact and the most value. Like he's not the most athletic, he's not the biggest, probably can't run much out of the box, right? But like I still think would be an awesome lefty attackman, but it's like what team needs him outside of the Cannon? So
out of your top 8 right now, though, one of those guys, who do you think could potentially fall round after round? Or do you think all 8 are at least going to go in the first 2?
I'd still say Hiltz is a guy that could fall.
It's Owen Hiltz. You're saying like you think Owen Hiltz is going to like. Do you think he could potentially go undrafted at all? Or do you think someone takes a risk on it?
Peyton Cornier did last year. That was the craziest thing. And I know
true.
that draft last year was hyped up as, one of the greatest drafts in a while. And I think it was. And I think we saw the results of that throughout the season. But you think about, well, not anymore the current D1 goals record holder, but at the time, Cormier goes undrafted. It's insane to think about that.
I was going to say, what a juxtaposition. Like last year, the goals record guy doesn't even get drafted. This year, the guy who broke the record is like surefire number 1.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Who's like your Jackson Dart then? It's a guy who was maybe like a 3rd or 4th rounder a couple weeks or months out, and then a team loves him and trades back up to go get him. You see anyone who's kind of either maybe wasn't on a PLL draft board at the beginning of the year that you think could slide into the first if a team really loves them, or early second?
Good question. I think a few stock risers. I think like a lot of the middies and like a lot of like the kind of the not second tier middies, but I think the consensus first two, and I've talked to a lot of coaches, are kind of McAdory and English, the kind of do-it-all midfielders. That's how they project. But a few names that, are really rising as like guys that can probably be contributors out of the midfield. Aiden Carroll of Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how familiar you guys are with him. He plays attack for Georgetown right now. He does nothing but produce, but I think a lot of coaches think he projects as a midfielder. If you watch the way he can shoot it on the run with both hands, and he's doing it against the opponent's number one defender usually, and he's just done nothing but produce. Kevin Warren has nothing but good things to say about him. And I'd also add another, Denver's Mick Kelly. I don't think it's a lazy comparison to Jack Hanna, of the Water Dogs right now, even though they went to Denver. Like they're both like two American midfielders, ideal size, and have kind of like added a little bit of a Canadian flavor to their game, just being at Denver with all those great coaches there. And a lot of coaches speak very highly of those two.
I got one for you real quick. How deep is your bag in the lacrosse world, would you say, when it comes to draft expertise? You think you could go deep? Like D1, D2, D3? The whole thing? Yeah. All right. Who's your Sterling Hupp this year? The club lacrosse player that could get signed. You got any club guys, a D3 guy, who's someone that you think
one's already a standout that already played D1. Do we count that?
Yeah, that counts. We're counting that. Believe me, TLN's counting that as first ever PLL draft pick.
We got Dylan Hess with Georgetown, Florida.
Yeah.
Diesel block, Dylan.
You gave him the layup right there, Mitch. You stole his layup line.
Adam, do you have any more?
Yeah, so Hess obviously is one I think a lot of coaches are high on. There might be a question about, like how ready is he? I believe he's playing attack at Florida, so it's kind of like, he's still playing, but it's like he's not taking the D midfield reps that he was at Georgetown. Another guy that I'm not sure, I haven't talked to many coaches about him, John DeFazio, LSM out of Salisbury. I actually played against him. He actually ended my career at Washington and Lee. Different story, but
and he still made
what happened? What happened? Can we make it real quick?
I didn't know we had Nestler on the podcast, by the way.
Was it anything serious?
Oh, Andrew, I'm just saying, like, that was my last game. Like, he, they beat us when I was a senior. So that was maybe not the best wording, but he's a guy. Like, after this, like, pull up his stats. Like, he's just a ground ball machine. It's always hard with 32 picks. It's like, like we say guys go undrafted, but like I've talked to a lot of coaches, like there's a few guys, like I think DeFazio could be one of them, that coaches are looking at immediately after the draft, scoop up.
Do you think that there's a guy, Dylan Renner, I know the goalie from Adelphi, he was in the transfer portal last year to potentially go D1, went back to Adelphi. Does he have any shot of getting picked up, being one of the goalies? I feel like there's not that many goalies this draft class that are being talked about.
Totally. I think he will get a shot, an undrafted shot. I don't think he'll get drafted. In fact, a lot of people I've talked to think there's a chance only two goalies could get drafted.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think those two being Emmett Carroll and Logan McNaney. And then kind of after that, it's like, I think a lot of goalies are going to get picked up, but it's just like, we're going to see who wants to, spend a draft pick on one of them when they could just pick them up, after.
Adam, quick
Which
one
one's
for you.
your first off the board of those two goalies?
I feel like it goes back and forth. I'm gonna say Carroll, but I think like whoever goes first, I think another team is going to take the other one very shortly after.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will say something. I think Emmett Carroll might be the most overrated goalie in the country.
No, he's not.
Yeah, every single time I watch him, gets lit up. It's like one of those. It's one of those things. Every single time I watch, like score watch Penn, he has like 60% plus save percentage. Every full game I watch, lit up. Cannot trust a guy like that for me.
So if you're in a bar you walk into a New York City bar and you see him there because he, no shame, but he went to Penn. He's probably gonna do investment banking in the city.
Probably my boss, yeah.
And he goes up to you and he said, "You said I'm the worst goalie in the draft. What are you saying back to him?"
Most overrated goalie in the draft, and this happens like once a weekend to me, Mitch. So I'm a professional, and I just go, yeah. I was like, well, like what game he's going to be like, what games did you watch? I'll be like, Notre Dame, you played like you didn't have a save in the second half, it felt like.
Yeah, he had a rough third quarter.
Yeah. So
And then
I mean, this happens all the time. This
every
happens
weekend to him.
This happened a couple I want to say last year, 2 years ago. There was a kid that went to Bucknell, and he comes up to me and he's like, just on all the right stuff. And he's like, you know what you said about Bucknell 2 years ago? I was like, shit, I don't remember what I did last week. What did I say about Bucknell? He's like, you said that we were like the worst program in the Patriot League. I was like, wow, I don't think you guys are the worst program. I was like, I don't even remember saying that. I was like, when's the last time you guys made the tournament? He's like, 2008. I was like, oh my God, you guys are worse than I thought. You guys suck.
Yeah.
I love that.
This guy reminded me of my take, and then at the bar, I got even more mad about it. I was like, holy
He makes
God.
your case.
Yeah.
Makes your case for you.
Makes your case for you. Adam, quick one though for you. We're talking MCLA ball. Obviously, in the social media game, a cat that played Division I at UMass took his 5th year at Liberty. Did we see the Drip King potentially getting drafted at all?
Drafted? Probably not. Picked
No
up?
chance.
Picked up? Maybe. I think it's like Faceoff's actually a really interesting one this year too. Like,
Yeah, I was going to
Actually-
ask that.
I talked to a coach. They're like, if there's not a clear-cut Fogo, that can beat like the top of the top in the PLL, and we're talking like TD Erlin, Trevor Baptiste, Mike Sisselberger, like a lot of coaches' strategy might just be to like pick those guys up after the draft, right?
Yeah.
Like that in goalie, it's like it is interesting to me because it's kind of like we saw Luke Weirman last year with Maryland. Like I think one of the clear cut top Fogo last season was drafted in the 4th round. So it's like it just kind of depends.
Yeah,
100%.
I don't think we'll see a face-off guy drafted. But of those guys, I think the only team that really needs a face-off guy could be the Chaos potentially. I think everyone else is pretty much set. And I guess the Water Dogs, you'd have some debate, but Coach Tierney and staff, I guess, go way back. So I think he's a lock there. Who's the number one Fogo? I know they're not going to get drafted, but pickup-wise, is it Will Lynch? Is it who else? Who do you have as the number one face-off guy in the class?
Yeah, I think like my number one's Will Coletti of Army, but it's always like with all those military guys, it's like just depends on their availability. So I kind of knock them on the board because of that. Like, but James, you talked about a guy like Will Lynch, like 2-time national champion. I'm not sure of his exact stats this year, but like he's been one of the guys. And the biggest thing is like he's gotten better every single year. And I think a lot of coaches like that. Like I would say maybe in his sophomore year, he wasn't lighting it up with Notre Dame. I don't want to say he was a weak point in like 2023 when they like went to the national championship, but I think he was just happened to be like their starting Fogo. And that's no knock on him. And then I think in 2024, we saw like he was actually like a game changer, during that championship run. Like he actually made his impact felt.
Right. Adam,
I
you were
think
talking.
Jake Naso too. He is having a great year in the NLL, and he got cut in training camp last year at the Redwoods. I could see him potentially getting picked up as well. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Dave, sorry.
But also Hoagie, going off what you said really quick, someone tweeted out his stats against the top end of the PLL talent. And I know, like, I don't know, so I'm not going to speak confidently on it, but I'm sure the face-off rules are a little different, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, you guys like look at the ref on the whistle, so it's a little
Mhm.
different, but it's still like you got to go body for body.
Exactly.
And the whistles are swistles in the PLL anyway, so you're just timing it anyway. So it's not that big of an adjustment.
Adam, but Mitch was just asking about the Drip King, obviously social media legend. Everyone knows pretty much who he is. What do you think the coaches were saying about Mitchell Pehlke out of Ohio State when he was getting ready for the draft? Do you
Adam,
think they were,
I'm kind
what
of
do you think the
pissed I was
scouting
never on a
report was on
draft
Mitch?
board.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I almost sent you a fucking flaming DM. Like,
how much of Mitch's
you
film
even
did you
Italian?
watch before you just turned it off?
Over under 45 seconds.
how much film? God,
Did you wait? Did you watch the Notre Dame goal? Because I'm sure you.
God,
Mitch,
he
you started
always
off with
brings this up.
dude. It's legitimately if I'm Coach Tierney and I have the number one draft pick and I'm looking at Mitchell Pehlke film, I see one sling by Liam Ensigman, I'm going, good golly, this guy might be drafted number
ball
one.
is hitting the back of the net on a base drop from a rapper named Yeet. You think Bill Tierney doesn't want that?
It's still the fires and scores. The fires and
Jesus, you
scores
probably
still
don't
the
even know
best
what
clip.
Yeet is. But Adam, we can circle back off camera. We might have to having a little tussle. But I think the most interesting thing about this draft, potentially in this story is kind of bubbling at the moment. I want Hoagie to kind of take this away. He's a Redwoods guy till he dies. is the third round pick, potentially shopping with some potential folks from another website inside lacrosse. But V, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, no, I guess a third overall pick, not third round, Mitch. Third overall in the first round.
He's still
with
stuck
the
on
Redwoods.
Shador.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree with Adam. I think Andrew McAdory is going to go 2. I think that's pretty straightforward, given obviously his skill set, but also the relationship he has with Spallina, the Long Island ties. They go way back. I think that's a lock. As for the third pick, I think Spallina is going to scout out what he can get. I think if someone loves a player and wants to jump up, he's going to be open to trading that. I think it's a pick where he's willing to stay where he is and pick who he wants at 3. But if he gets an offer that he likes, whether it's draft picks or not, even if they add in a great role player, if you look at the Redwoods, they're basically starting from scratch, right? That team is going from 0 to 100. They're restarting. So any, even if it's depth players that they can add in the future, could be big. I do like Chris Kavanagh getting drafted at 3. My only concern with that is I don't think Chris is a true number 1 QB on that X tack spot. I think he's a very good off-ball role player, kind of playing that role like he did with Pat last year at Notre Dame, more as that Robin role, not the Batman role. So I don't know who the Redwoods really have offensively to really be that Batman to unlock Chris fully. But I mean, if you want to set the tone from a culture perspective and a new era of Redwoods lacrosse, I mean, the Kavanaghs are where you start. So having that grittiness, I would love it. I think he's open to trading back or trading up, but I still think he takes Chris at 3. I don't think he moves on draft night unless he gets something that he can't resist and really can't turn down.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that Chris is probably a player. Like, I think Chris is the player. Chris is the player that other teams are targeting when they call up about number 3. Like you said, I agree with everything. Like you said, I think you got to use Chris you just got to let him be on the right wing, right? Like, I don't think there's a player that's better at just creating stuff, like whether it's end of shot clock, like off a loose ball. Like, he's had some insane goals. The one that stands to mind is against Maryland down in Atlanta. Will Shaller's playing perfect defense. Shot clock's winding down. Somehow he just like leaps and like gets the ball around McNaney. Like, those are the plays that like excite you about Chris Kavanagh in a faster PLL where you're incentivized to take risks. He's a really exciting player. And he's a guy that I wrote about that, like, there's a world you could see him as a better pro than he is college player. And he's already a really good college player.
Do you think that like Nick Turn can help unlock him? Because I know they just picked him up. And I mean, you want to talk about Long Island grit. Kavanagh with Nick Turn. That's totally. Long Island grit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But going off what Hoagie just said, going up next is 𝐓𝐇𝐄 potentially going to the Cannons. You're talking about him or 𝐓𝐇𝐄 going there. What do you think that they should do? Do you think they should go 𝐓𝐇𝐄 or 𝐓𝐿𝐻? And what's the argument, I guess, for 𝐓𝐿𝐻?
I'd actually be good with like either player. I think like the Cannons would be the perfect landing spot for 𝐓𝐿𝐻, right? Like, they already have 2 ball carriers in. Well, Asher Nolting's their guy, obviously.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I heard he's
pretty good. Good at lacrosse. Marcus Holman's been doing it forever. He's actually like Marcus Holman's an underrated Dodger too. Like, people don't really appreciate that part of his game, I think, as much. Like, he can create. Like, obviously he's a tremendous shooter, but he can create. So when you think about like they need a lefty, and you think about a guy like 𝐓𝐿𝐻, like just his ability to like move the ball quickly. Like, one thing, my probably favorite part of his game is like if you see him catch the ball on the left wing and just zip it through X, that ball, he's shooting it at his teammate. And I think like I know like you guys can all appreciate how important that is. Mm-hmm. Like, it's important in college, even more important in the PLL, get that ball spinning. So like he's a perfect fit there, but like the same could be said for 𝐓𝐿𝐻 too, a guy that can play with or without the ball, can shoot it from the wing. So
I am interested to hear like Pat Cav wasn't the right fit for the Cannons last year, right? But if Chris Cav somehow slipped there, do you think they could work that out? Obviously not a lefty, but he like the starting attack for Notre Dame last year, I'm pretty sure was already attackman. So it's not like it's impossible to do. It's not like pretty sure Chris rotated around, whatever. But do you think they could take he might be a better fit than Pat was?
Yeah, that'd be interesting if it happened again. I don't think it would happen. I still think they would take a lefty at 4.
Right.
But it would make it more interesting for sure.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, Marcus isn't going to play forever. And then
Yeah.
Chris would kind of be the perfect piece to just put right there. So I don't know if it's looking too deep in the future. I know a lot of people have been talking about, not me, but it's other people on this podcast have been saying that Chris isn't necessarily like a quarterback who can't play it, even though I would disagree with that. But yeah, and just a reminder, when we interviewed Coach Holman, and I had some tweets about Matt Campbell saying that he was going to be a bona fide star, an all-star. Whoever doesn't draft him is going to regret it for years. Coach Holman still hasn't called me, by the way.
Oh, I thought you were running their draft this year.
I'm not even kidding. I was expecting a phone call. I thought that interview with him went so well.
You were actually expecting a phone call.
Yeah, I thought Holman. Dude, did you see how
He seemed genuine.
He was impressed.
Dude, he just won a championship. He's trying to like get back and slam beers. He just wanted to get off the show,
Dude,
probably.
yeah,
he was just saying yes to your question.
He was going to invite me back to his house. He was like, "Let's." He texted me on the
If
side.
he saw you right now, he wouldn't even be like, "Oh, hey, we did the podcast together, right?" He'd be like,
texted me.
"Hey,
He
you want
goes-
an autograph?"
He texted
He
me.
was
He's like,
also
"Dude,
expecting Michigan to win the Big Ten too, and that didn't work out. So
Oh my gosh.
Hoagie,
Oh my gosh.
Hoagie.
Yeah,
Michigan's done something that neither Mitch nor Hoagie ever did.
No,
We did. Me, Hoagie, and Mitch have the same amount of Big Ten conference championships.
that is true. That is true.
Adam, and the rest of you guys, do you think there's any chance the Cannons end up regretting making that trade with the Redwoods? Because that number 3 pick originally belonged to the Cannons. And I think they kind of thought they would be able to get their lefty. And I know you mentioned, Chris Kavanagh is the player they're probably calling around about at 3. Like, all of a sudden, the Chaos now need a lefty, right? Because Josh Byrne is not playing. Like, could potentially the Chaos trade up to get above the Cannons, get the Cannons' original pick, and then snipe them and take McAsee, who, by the way, is going to be on Through X May 8th. Make sure you're tuning in for that. Could McAsee like throw a whole wrench in the draft because of the Josh Byrne development?
Yeah, I would say so. And I think what you said, like those are probably the 2 most likely teams, to trade up to 3. And it's not like a big jump at all, but it kind of is like, and like Joe Spallino over there, he's leveraging that too between the Cannons and the Chaos at 4 and 5, right? Like, I think we'd all do the same thing, like seeing what we can get for that pick, maybe trade back a few spots, maybe get a guy we're still targeting all along. But yeah, I think your point is like,
I heard now. I can't. This is just rumors, but I heard that when that trade went down, there was kind of a gentleman's agreement that Spallino wouldn't take Coulter McAsee with one of those 2 picks.
Like you would think
Spallino could trade the pick and someone else could take McAsee, and he wouldn't be going against his word if that is what actually happened.
Yeah, but if you make that trade off of like a word of mouth, this is why this goes back to why we need GMs.
Yeah.
And then we would see the day after the draft, the Cannons have announced the hiring of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I love
do
that.
agree. I don't think the Redwoods would take McAsee at 3, but I still think McAsee could go 3 to another team. Like, I think even if it's just trading, like even if the Cannons trade up a spot and let's say they give up like a future 4th round pick just to make sure that they get McAsee, like that's still a win for, the Redwood. Like they just it's a win for both teams because the Cannons still secure the lefty that they want, whether it's McAsee or Hiltz, and then the Redwoods pick up, an extra pick for basically nothing, like just moving back 1 spot.
Could you see potentially, since we were just talking about Ethan Walker and just could you see the Water Dogs drafting Owen Hiltz?
At number 1, no.
No, not at number 1. Not at number 1. Just in the draft. Like, is that a team that could eye Hiltz later on?
Like, yeah, that's the thing. Well, that's why I say he could be like a big slider because it's like.
You don't think so, Kev? Why not?
Because they would draft a lefty attackman in Kirst, number 1. Why would they waste another one?
I mean, it's fair. I mean, Kirst goes double 2 hands, so like I can't even tell.
I know, right? Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
I was thinking of the Ethan.
Yeah.
I was literally thinking Ethan Walker's position.
Okay.
Like just to challenge him, and I was like, Hiltz kind of fits that vibe, but no.
I'd take Jake Taylor first.
No, I'm down. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good players in this draft, Kev.
Adam, what's the highest you think, if you were a GM, what's the highest you would take Jake Taylor, where you could stomach it?
like the highest I think he'd go, or if I were like what pick if I were a GM?
You're a GM and you're in love with him. You're in love with him as a prospect, which maybe
Ooh.
I'm putting words in your mouth. I don't know. I mean,
I
we talked
do-
before.
I like him. All right, so here's what I equated Jake Taylor to. Jake Taylor is kind of like Kevin, and I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
Jake Taylor is like a premium running back in the NFL, right? It's like you draft him, like he's gonna put up points, he's gonna have like a good career, but I think like the team that should draft him should be like they should have the team set around him, like in NFL, like they have the offense set, offensive line's good to go, and then the running back is the last piece you need to take that team from a good offense to an elite, like Super Bowl winning offense. I think we saw with Saquon Barkley what that did with the Eagles. And I think Jake Taylor's a guy that could do that. Like, think about like Jake Taylor's going to have a great career. He's a great player, but like he's still dependent upon how good the offense is around him. Like at Notre Dame, he was blessed to have, both Kavanaghs, a bunch of talent around him. Like,
He's not going to carry a PLL offense.
I think it depends.
He's a nice piece.
Yeah, it depends. It's a luxury pick.
Yeah.
Like,
so like last pick in the first round, maybe.
It depends
on the Archers.
Yeah, he was who I thought of with Jackson Dart when you asked about it. Like, who's someone that you could see sneaking up in the first round? That's the first person I thought of.
You thought of Taylor? Yeah.
I thought of Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, how fun would Jake Taylor with the Archers be, though?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
So sick.
Because Wisnauskas was out last year, I immediately was like, he's going to go to the Outlaws. But like now I'm like trade Logan Wisnauskas, get some picks, get something, put him on the crease, do whatever you can. Him with Pat Cav again, and then you have Brendan O'Neal to that line is scary.
Well,
that would be so sick. And he's
I
from
had that
Denver.
in a mock. I had that in like, I don't know if it was, I think it was my 1.0 mock draft. It's like, I had that, and I think that was before Law had re-signed too, so there's kind of an opening there. Even still, if he's sitting there at 11, right? Like Eric Law's getting up there in age, and I just think like you kind of like bet on the talent in that situation, unless there's like another pressing need for the Outlaws, which they have been linked to a goalie there at 11. It's like that would also be awesome too. Like they would score. Jake Taylor scores so many goals with Pat Cavanagh.
I have your mock draft from last year, by the way, up right now, Adam. You know how many picks you got right in the first round last year?
From last year?
Yeah,
like 2.
You started 2 for 2. Brendan O'Neal, Connor Schellenberger. You also got Liam Entenmann at 5.
Sweet.
And then so you got 3. So how many picks do you have to get right for it to be a successful mock draft?
I don't know. I also like don't really like see it that way too. It's like
he's a big board guy.
I am a big board guy too. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's fun to get stuff right, but it's also like I like doing it too based off like what I see fit too. Like it's hard to like blend like the rumors you're hearing and then also like what you want to happen to, if that makes sense.
Right. Because then you
sense.
can go back in a year and you'd be like, see if the Boston Cannons took Shane Knobloch, which you had last year.
Yeah.
Maybe they'd be better.
Adam, I want to ask you a quick one. We had obviously Pete Kark on, another fellow Italian. He talked about how he thought Connor Marr wasn't a great pick, and some teams should kind of pass on him. Obviously, what he's done in the past year has been great. And he said he got a scathing, heinous DM from, I think, one of Connor's family friends, brothers, someone's sister's boyfriend, something.
Girlfriend or something, yeah.
Something
They're
heinous
usually
like
all
that.
over that, Mitch.
Find a girlfriend that protects you like Connor Morris. If the
I
girlfriend
know.
is sending the DMs.
But Adam, for you, have you ever got a heinous DM from maybe a player or a fan that we might know of?
I don't think I've gotten like anything that bad.
Mm.
Like
I can't say that.
Dukes, how many have you got, Dukes? Too many to count.
Yeah. I got terps in my DMs every weekend.
Oh man.
the funniest though,
Ohio State boys are really deep down my throat right now.
Really?
Oh my God, they're coming everywhere.
All right, next. Keep going, Adam.
AP with the AO.
my favorite. I'm sure you guys get a lot too. It always just like makes me laugh, especially from the burners. Just like when you like give an opinion out there, and it's just like you don't know ball, and like that's the argument. It's like
Yeah.
Hey, you got any burners you're looking to expose?
Yeah.
This is we're trying to make this a burner exposing podcast, if you know any.
No, it is fun though. I kind of like. I like the burners. They keep me honest. They make sure I'm right. I've replied to them too. Like, why not? It's probably like someone, like, the lacrosse community is small. It's probably someone I know somehow.
100%.
Yeah, I like the burners. It's like keep that same energy. When they chirp you, it's like I'll chirp back. It's like it's
you're crazy.
It's brave. It's brave to put your face behind an opinion. Like you're going to be wrong more than you're right. Or maybe that's just me. Maybe that's why they hate me.
No, I think you're right.
No, you're right.
You have to throw things out there.
Doogs is a volume shooter.
Oh my
God!
Yeah, dude.
Hey, Doogs, and when you hit, you're gonna hit big, right? Eventually, no matter, just gotta hit once.
I mean, I've hit the last 2 years, Hoagie, back to back.
You have Notre Dame. You have.
Dudes. We'll see. Adam, last one before you hop off. You talked about last year being one of the best drafts ever. Obviously, talking about this year being a potential shakeup in the first round. How confident are you in this last mock draft? And are we going to get another one before Tuesday, or is this it?
Yeah, I think we'll see another in some sort of capacity. I don't know if it'll be strictly from me or like a combination with some of our other great PLL writers, but like a lot of stuff's changing. There's a lot of stock risers, and like I think it's like even the coaches don't know like after the first round. I think we have a good idea of how the first round's going to go, but it's like I think a lot of coaches are going to take players in the second and third rounds that might be a reach, but like it's that one specific person or skill that they need to like fill out their roster. So like I think we're going to see like it's always a fun question of like best player available or like best talent available versus like need. And like that's going to be like I think someone like Jake Taylor is going to have probably like 5 goals in a PLL game this summer. And everyone's going to be like, well, how'd he fall to like, let's say pick 15 or whatever. And it's like, well, some teams just might not need that. Like, I always think that's interesting.
We're also like, Kev, by the way, you just said that like, someone's going to say like, how did this guy fall? And Kev's like, we're all looking for the guy who did this.
yeah. I love that. Adam. I got one more. Pehlke said on when he was on, he said, if you're a lacrosse player and you graduate and you're going to do investment banking, I'm not drafting you. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, like, I get it, but like at the same time, we have a bunch of PLL players already doing that. Like I believe like TJ Malone, the rookie of the year, is working an investment banking job.
Yep.
So it's like, I get it. Like, I think you need to gauge like how committed a player is, but like
cut his ass.
No,
Carkwood. No, but that's the difference, though. Spending a first-round pick and a third-round pick. I know.
For sure. Do you think that's why he fell?
No.
No.
Are you sure?
I don't think
Cark's probably in everyone's ears. Like, IB.
Don't draft this guy.
IB.
No, I don't. Like, it's definitely a little bit. Like, honestly, it's up to the coach and player to have like an honest conversation about that. Like, because there's probably it's tough to do, but like it is doable. Like we've seen that.
Yeah, they're also always like my last one is Kark. I'm pretty sure this is Kark. Kark was saying that there was Ben Ware, who I thought would be a top 5 pick, going into this year. That there's concerns about how he can cover man-to-man at the professional level. Kind of what I think I was saying about Pacino last year, and why I thought that was like I didn't really think Pacino should be a first-round pick in that regard. But do you think Ware could be the Shedeur Sanders, someone that could really fall?
That was going to be the other guy I was going to bring up too when he first asked that question. Yeah, 100%. And I think you're spot on when you say like, we know what Ben Ware can do in transition, right? Like he's good with the ball on his stick. I know he had a mistake at the end of the Duke game. Like you're going to live and die by those, mistakes in the PLL. Like his upside as an LSM, like the way he can handle the ball, he's got good size, but it's like there's questions about how he fits into a team defense.
What do you think is the difference between him and Pacino?
Ware's taller. I'll give you that.
Yeah, it's funny.
No.
Ware should be doing more over the head checks.
Yeah, you think
Pacino,
Pacino's just better with the stick, just like causing ruckus in the middle of the field, or
Yeah, I mean, I do like the more film I
I don't
watch.
think yeah.
We would see Pacino's like highlight reel plays. Pacino was a good defender too, and he had a very active stick. And I think Ware's the same way too. Like I have Ware as my number 4 prospect. I think he's going to be good in the PLL. But I also think because of the year that UVA is having, he's also getting knocked for that too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and like, I gotta ask it. This is my last one. Griffin Schutz, like, talk about a fall from grace. I didn't even know if there was ever grace, but physically, he is a PLL player. Obviously, the year that they've had, you think he even gets a camp invite?
I don't know. I know his stock is falling.
I don't think so.
I see. That's the one. Like, it's like DJ Ukulele. Like, it's just like
Yeah,
someone, please, just someone.
Wasn't
please.
Schutz number 1 coming out of high school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was part of the number one recruit group chat. I asked McKay Millen about that last year. I said, "Do you guys all have a group chat?" I was like, "They should." Just every single number one recruit that like once like Ty Zanders is like, "This is the number one guy." Just add that guy to the group chat and recruit him.
Yeah, but no, he has not looked good this year.
Yeah, I do hope he gets. There's no loss to getting. Like, could you see him transform into a D midi, or just won't even translate?
No, I don't think so. I could see him getting a shot, and I could see him making a roster. Like, we know the talent's kind of there. Like, we've seen it in the past. Like, yeah, he's not having a good year. I don't even think he had a great year last year. But, like,
True.
When you talk about a guy, like, that can shoot both hands, big and strong, like you said, Doogs, like, he could definitely make a PLL roster. He has the size for it. I don't think he's an offensive midfielder. But we just got to see how he does, like, in camp if he gets picked up.
And who from Ohio State will be drafted?
Who from Ohio State will be drafted?
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone will be drafted from Ohio State.
What about Alex Marnier as a sharpshooter picked up maybe on a training camp roster? He's got a lethal shot.
I really like Marinier. And he's another one of those guys. It's like
Italian.
Is he Italian?
He's Italian. Canadian Italian, gritty.
But he's like you said, like, James, like, he's like, put him at righty attack. Like, he's going to rack up goals, right? He's kind of got to be like, I know he played a little bit of midfield as well when he transferred over, but, like, I think, like, his true value is just, like, you put him on the right wing, like, you let him shoot the ball, let him
step into one in transition.
And I would love for a team like the Archers or the Cannons. You want to talk about a Marcus Holman replacement? Look at Marinier in the 4th. That's someone that could. He's
Mitchell Pehlke, undrafted.
Gosh, talk to me.
Well, out there.
Talk to me, Adam. Well, thank you for coming on. I hope this is all right, because if not, you could be on the hot seat here after Tuesday.
So the Kuiper meltdown.
Adam, please no Mel Kiper breakdown for us, please.
Are you going live?
What's up?
Are you going to go live for it?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you see me go live on Instagram, like, maybe not a great idea to tune in. That'll probably be my meltdown about.
You need a slice of pumpkin pie so everyone knows and gets it.
Yeah,
I'd like to see Frank Caliendo do a little like Ryan, like a Paul Carcaterra versus Jim Stagnita like impression.
That'd be hilarious.
God, I love that. Adam, well, appreciate you. Thanks for hopping on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Adam Lamberti, legend. We got to get him on more often. We're just keeping the Italians rolling. On the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show. Next segment, it's a new one. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, no Mitch's mailbox. We're going to do blind rankings of number 1 draft picks, and we're going to see how these guys do. Kev, I want to start with you.
Oh, great.
Just as a guy that's a little bit out of the mix, I don't know if you know some of these young cats, but we did give you a step up. Let's just say that.
All right. Okay.
I'm going to say the first name for you. We're going to start off with an easy one. Miles Thompson.
Miles Thompson. I'm going to stick him at number 4.
Drew Adams.
Drew Adams, okay. Probably slightly better pro career. I'm going to go 3.
Ryan Brown.
Okay, I'm going to go 2 for Ryan Brown, although he's...
Wow, I thought he was going to say
He's-
5.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Ned Karate.
Ned Karate won.
Ned Karate?
Ned Karate.
Ned
Ned Karate and Jiu-Jitsu, number 1.
Rob
Here's my
Pennell.
5. Oh!
Oh, no.
All right. I did poor.
Kev, that would have been good if you had put karate at 5 and you would have had the last.
I know.
That
But
was
I
good.
got
Though.
nervous.
That was good.
I got
That was
nervous.
good.
This is nerve-wracking because you don't know what's coming.
You don't know
have
what's
no
coming
idea.
next.
Yeah.
Doogs, on to you.
Okay.
Miles Jones.
5.
Gavin Adler.
4.
Grant Ament.
2.
Knew who was going to say
I
2.
thought he was going to say 3 and go down the ladder.
Lyles Thompson.
Lyles
Thompson.
1.
Yeah.
Tom Schreiber. So close.
That was almost exact.
that was almost perfect.
Yeah.
That was almost perfect.
Wait, where would you have? You put Tom obviously 1. Would you
Lyle
have put
2, MS
Lyle
3.
at 2?
I would have
Or
put
was it
Lyle
3?
5. No, I put Lyle probably 2. Yeah, I would have put Lyle.
Okay,
And
so you were
3,
kind of a
Adler,
couple
4,
off.
Miles 5, yeah.
Yeah,
Hoagie,
but
for you.
I honestly think I would have taken. I do want to say, I think at this
Wait, would
point,
you go
if you were going
Tom,
to judge,
Grant,
if you were,
Lyles?
if you were
No,
going to
Lyles
judge,
had
if
a
you're going to
Grant.
judge just PLL careers, I would say that Grant Ament
Put
has had a
Grant
better.
above. Yeah.
I'd put Grant
Yeah,
above
I guess I'm
Lyle.
thinking of it as just overall lacrosse, not just
Grant's
specifically
also,
pro.
if you're going off of last year, you could make a strong argument that he was the best midfielder in the world.
No, that's fair. 100%.
I mean, he won the award.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, but like obviously, like it's one of those things. At some point, like it's Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, would you?
He won the award because
Kevin,
his
do you want
teammate
to?
got
Do you want to? Do you want to
Yeah.
do this? Do you want to do this right now,
Yeah.
Kevin?
It's Tom Schreiber. So,
All right, Hoagie, you're up.
yeah, let's do it.
Brendan O'Neill. It's tough because he only played 1 year.
3.
So you're like,
3.
3.
3.
Wow. Interesting.
3.
Rob Pennell.
We're talking just all time, right? Not just in the current moment. 2.
Yeah.
2.
Trevor Baptiste.
He's got to go 4. He's got to go 4. I got 1 and 5 now, so I'm clamping myself in a corner here.
Dylan Malloy.
5. So who's my 1?
Jeff Teat.
That's not bad. That's
I
not
think you
terrible.
nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's
That
pretty
is
I
good.
thought I could maybe because I chose your players.
Could you put Trevor Baptiste below Brendan O'Neill just with, I guess if we're talking
No,
all-time
all I
career.
had left, I had 2 and 3 taken, so it was either Trevor at 1 or he had to go at
Yeah.
4, and I didn't
think-
want to put him at
Trevor
1.
was 2 spots too low.
Yeah.
If
that's
I
what
was going to
thinking.
do it,
I think
I'd
at the lowest,
probably
but Trevor is 2.
I'd probably do Teat 1, Trevor 2, Rob 3, Brennan 4, Malloy 5, based on right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll take that for blind ranking. I'll
God,
take
I
it.
love that.
Yeah, that was pretty
Let
good.
us know in the
I thought I could
comments.
get you.
I like
I thought I
that.
could get you with Baptiste.
Trevor could go
Yeah.
1.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely up
Yeah,
there.
you
But
I think
make
Trevor's
arguments,
had a better
though.
PLL career than Jeff Teat at this point.
Trevor's
Yeah.
just a mainstay in the league.
Both have an
I mean, he's
MVP.
just
Yeah,
such
he
a
is.
legend.
Both have an MVP, and if you're going to talk, like, I think the levels between the Trevor to the next best Fogo, and all years considered,
Yeah.
from Jeff T to the next best attackman, I think there's.
Do you think
a wide gap in
Trevor-
Fogos?
Do you think Trevor
Yeah.
has already passed Greg Renley and is the best faceoff guy in the history of the game?
I think he did it
Bro.
in 2019.
Yeah.
I will say, Doogs, like we've had more years of Trevor being the most dominant talent as at his position. Whereas,
Evolved.
Yeah.
if we were having this exact podcast at this time a year ago, like I don't know if any of us would even say Jeff Teat was the best attackman. in the
No.
Yeah.
PLL.
that's
I
true,
agree.
Kev.
Trevor
I
has
do wanna-
such an underrated offensive threat too. He scores a lot of
100
goals.
He's evolved so much, and I think
Yeah.
that when it comes to like the amount of face-off rule changes that Trevor's been through and how dominant
Yes.
he's been throughout every
Still.
single one,
Yep.
and now evolving. They wanted to get rid of the face-off position. The Water Dogs 2 years ago made championship game without using like a Fogo. They were just going with the long pole. They changed that rule, obviously, and Trevor's been able to beat like those allegations he was, and it was like he could stay on the field. He's an offensive threat. So just he's a 2-bomb threat. He has one of the best 2-bombs off the faceoff. So
he does.
It's pretty crazy
shout out
what he's
Trevor.
done.
Shout out
That
Trevor.
clip of him where he's like, when he scored the 2-pointer, he's like, that speed, boy. When he was
Classic.
talking to Boyle
So
before the
sick.
clip, he wins the faceoff out the front, shoots it, and scores. They're like,
Yeah, how much
work
we're
on that
gonna
one.
go,
That's just speed, boy. That's such
how much
a
we're gonna
sick clip.
how much we're gonna you know, when we talk about someone's PLL legacy, what are we gonna give like how much are we gonna put like PL clips into the equation? Like Trevor was so good on RJ's vlogs that we're gonna put that into the GOAT status.
Yeah.
Elite on social media.
Yeah,
Levels the stock.
Yeah,
Well,
100%.
that'll be
love
my
that.
own little personal ranking.
I like blind rankings, though. Let us know in the comment section if you guys want that to be a mainstay, trying to mix some things up and try different segments. But on to our last, a staple for MPLS, start, bench, cut. You guys know the rules. You have to start one, bench one, cut one. This week, we have eye black. No eye black, single line eye black, or a design eye black. Kev, I want to start with you. I don't know if they were wearing eye black back in the 90s, but you hit us off. Start, bench, cut.
Dude, and we were doing jumping jacks too before games. I will say I'm kind of old school. I also think like eye black, man, like, are you doing it for a function? What is the function of the eye black? To me, I was never an eye black guy. It's like makeup for boys.
Was it ever used for a function?
It's supposed
I
to
never
be
even thought
like to
about
keep the
sun.
sun out of your eyes,
Yeah.
right? Which, yeah, come on. Like, no one believes that anymore.
help
It's
with the sun.
makeup, it's war paint, whatever you want to call it. But I go start, no eye black. I'm going to go and I'll give the designs some love for lacrosse just because I feel like it's too much when you see it in other sports like football. It's like, what is that guy doing? But it's so tied to lacrosse. Like, I think of Mikey Powell with the diamonds, like, or the triangles, like, that was OG. And then just single line, while I like it in football, I feel like it's like, why you're in between. I gotta cut the single line, either go all out with a design or get rid of the eye black. Single line was not for me.
Doogs, let's take it to you. And before you answer, were you putting any eye black on playing MCLA lacrosse?
I think I was in MCLA. Yeah, I think at MCLA
That's
though,
sickening.
I switched to the
Sickening.
well again, we had to compete for like games that actually mattered in like playoff environments, ranked teams. You know, this is MCLA ball. I know you're probably going to do a YouTube video next week on it. So if you want to keep making fun of it, I mean, I know that
I
you're
am
gonna get a lot
actually.
yeah. Are you actually?
Actually.
What are you gonna try out for another MCLA
Yeah,
team?
come on, no, come on.
Marco
I can't.
Lombardi.
Marco Lombardi, Liam Johnson, whoever you want. Start, bench, cut. Who you got?
The design's is too open ended for me. It's a very like low risk reward. Like there's a couple that work, but there's so many that don't. So I'm gonna have to cut design.
Okay.
I used to love the triangles, but then I don't like the stripes across the face. It's too much. You look like an animal. So I'm gonna just go this one line across. Start that. I think it's very basic, clean, like that. And then I'm gonna bench the no eye black.
Okay. Hoagie, I feel like I know your answer.
Yeah, I'm going to start no eye black. Eye black's an absolute disaster. It's a pain in the ass to clean afterwards. You're
Yes.
scrubbing your face till your face is red. You're like ripping the skin off your face. It's also just, it's annoying. Sometimes you get sweat in your eye and you try and wipe your hand. It smudges all over. It's all over your chin strap for a week. I'm starting no eye black. I'm going to cut the designs. I think for lacrosse, I mean, the triangles, that's just staple, especially growing up, 5th, 6th grade lacrosse, everyone's doing the triangles. I don't know about these days with the Drip King, you got the stuff on the calves, but back in the day when you were doing just the triangles, those were sick. So I'm going to bench the triangles and like the designs. And then I'm going to cut just a straight Tom Brady eye black. I mean, if you're rocking the straight lines lacrosse, you're a blow by, you're a squid. Don't do it. You look like a clown. You either got to go all out with the triangles or you got to do no eye black. The straight line just it's not it. Like Kev said, you're an in-betweener. What are you doing? It's not it.
Really
See, I'm different than all you guys because I'm starting no eye black. I'm benching straight lines because it's one of those things that we've got so far away from. Now that if we brought it back, it's kind of like that's kind of swaggy.
Was it even there
it's
in
one of those
lacrosse
things,
though?
It's one of those things that like
straight line?
if you rock it, it's kind of like
Straight
the black
line even
cleats we
there?
talked about.
Yeah.
If you have the straight line, you have to be the best player in the field or you're the worst player on the field. There's
Who
no in
rocks
between.
a straight line though that you knew who rocked it properly?
They wouldn't let us.
No,
in high
I don't
school.
think so. I just think it's
It's a
like if
hypothetical
you worked.
player.
No, I just
If
feel like
you
I haven't
were
seen
to-
anyone in lacrosse do the straight line.
I think a bunch.
That's what I'm
of people do
saying.
straight
If
line.
you're
Oh,
subscribed,
so you're
to
saying
PLN
bring it
and
out of
watching the
retire.
Mitchell
You're saying
Pehlke
bring it
Lacrosse
out,
Show.
Mitch.
I
You're
think
saying
more
make
people
it
do
known.
straight line. I think more people do straight line than you think. They're just not. looking
No,
at
it's
the
always
rest
it's
of
a
the
No.
line and then they just drag it down.
Yeah, like the claws almost, like the fingers,
Yeah.
like you do here,
Yeah.
and then you smudge
I
it
don't
down the
think
side.
so. I think a bunch of PLL players just do one line across.
I don't think I've ever seen
so.
Ryder
it.
has like just the one.
I think one.
What
Yeah.
about
is
like
so nice.
what do you count McCabe's as? McCabe's got like the big like blocks
Yeah.
like on his eyelids.
It's like
awful.
the ghost eyes too. People
It's
do
awful.
around the eyelids.
I think it's
You
kinda
see those
swaggy.
where they do like the eyes.
It's not swaggy.
But and then
it hurts
and then
your eyes.
I'm
Let's be honest,
cutting.
you start
I'm
sweating
cutting
and
the
it hurts your eyes.
designs. I'm cutting the designs. It's gotten too crazy. At my camp this past year, we had a kid that had like a skull and crossbones on the back of his cast, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's too
Awful,
far.
man. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, I don't know where
it's
that came from.
criminal. It's
What the
it's
hell is
criminal.
going on?
No, Mitch. What we see at the camp is they do the smiley face on the calf with the X'd out eyes. It's like
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
staple on the calves. They're like, it's drip,
Gosh.
bro. It's drip. You gotta have the drip. I'm
We
like,
wouldn't
dude,
at Garden City. We
wipe
weren't
that
able
off. You're not gonna
do-
get off every coach's list in 1 second.
We weren't
rocking
able
out.
to do. We weren't able to do the designs. If you wanted to wear eye black, you had to get the coach would put it on you, and you'd have to do one line across.
What are we
Really?
gonna do when
I
these
like that.
kids
I
who are
like
the
that.
number one
I
recruit in
liked
like
it too
8
because it
years
worked. Because if you were good, it
show up
worked.
to a summer tournament going into September 1st their junior year and they got a X'd out face on their calf and they're just the number one recruit in the grade because they've been rocking it since
Gosh.
6th grade. Once we get
Gosh.
there, I mean,
Doogs, let's
Good
say your kid comes down the stairs and he's ready to go to his game and he's got eye black on the back of his calf. What are you saying to him?
Get in the shower.
Just
in the
simple.
shower.
Where did you
Just
come from?
Get in
Yeah.
the shower.
You're not my son.
Yeah. I was gonna-
All right, well, I think that's a great way to wrap up the show. Dukes, fun fact. Anything for the fans out there?
Want me to give you a fun fact or like a hypothetical? Can I give a hypothetical?
Yeah, let's switch it up.
All right. I saw this on Twitter. This could be fun, but we'll do a little twist to it.
Okay.
You're gonna take one Drip King versus 10 gorillas. Who are you taking?
was that a UMass? Was that
Wait.
a UMass
Wait.
with the
That was
grill
kind of a
across?
tie-in
Were
there.
you
I
bringing
like
that
that.
in the tie-in, Dukes?
You were kind of. I don't know if he was even thinking about it. One Drip King versus 10 gorillas. I'm taking 10 gorillas.
Okay, one Drip King versus 10 Mitchell Pehlkes.
10 Mitchell Pehlkes.
Wow.
You know, he is a faithful guy, and so am I. A 1v1.
Are we gonna see that? Are we gonna see that in the boxing ring? I know that's a
Yeah,
like
can we
little
do a
Logan Paul
W?
thing. We're gonna-
Can we
we're
do
gonna
a
see a little-
boxing
little
ring.
pay-per-view?
Nice. Still
Hell
got the Dynasty
boxing
Barstool,
ring.
a little rough and rowdy. We can see
Yes,
Drip King versus
pay-per-view.
Mitchell
Pehlke versus Drip King. Pay-per-view.
Wow.
PLL week
Yo,
1.
hey, Hoagie,
PLL
drop
week
in the
1. Look at the
comments.
ring.
Drop
The
in the
Duke cannon
comments if you want to
setup.
see that. Drop
Yeah,
in the
we'll get the
comments if you
Duke
want to see
cannon
that.
set
This
up at
just shows
midfield
you-
between the games.
Also,
Drop in
Duke
the
Cannon,
comments
shout
if you
out.
want to see
They'll
that.
build us a ring.
meant
Duke
to say
Cannon.
this when we
Pehlke
did,
Drip King pay-per-view.
Start bench cut. I've never in my life, I don't know if you call it sad, soft, or just a nice guy. I've never worn eye black in my entire life.
I never
That's
did
sad.
lacrosse.
Yeah.
That's sad.
I
Is
wore
it
it in high
sad,
school.
or
and
is it
then
just like that guy?
sad.
College.
It's sad because not like you had because I know why you didn't do it because I know you
Why?
were like, oh, it's gonna be so annoying to take off in the shower. Like I gotta get like my. It was definitely like a you're like it's gonna give me it's gonna give me acne.
After. Yeah, you got it on your chin strap. You're practicing
Well, I
on
think
Monday.
too.
It's back on
Also,
your
when you get to
cheeks.
college, Mitch, you can attest to this. You know, everyone's rocking eye black in high school, right? But then you know,
Yeah.
you get to college, you're a freshman. You know, in our case, we're on Ohio State. We're on a top 10 team. We're playing big games or whatever. And you're not playing as a freshman. You look like a
Yeah.
clown if you're a freshman at the end of the bench and you're doing like triangles with the drip down the side. I mean,
Oh,
and you're
God.
not getting.
Let me
any
give you
burn.
guys a fun story
It's
real
like-
quick, and we can sign out on this. First ever lift at Ohio State. Hoagie comes out of the locker room with self-wrapped wrist tape.
Yes, I did.
And
I did.
and from there, we were like, is this guy need clinical help?
No, I broke my. I
And
broke
we
my
still
wrist.
don't know. So we
Broke
will see
my
you
wrist.
guys next episode, 9 a.m. Wednesday. Dukes, any last words?
Yeah, Hoagie, could you please finish?
I said I broke my wrist.
All right, see you guys tomorrow. Peace.